No, I think that's a good one. And, pastors have a tough job. They don't generally add to the Bible. And so there's only so many lessons you can teach out of there. And you got to switch up the words and the analogies. It's not
I
an
think
easy
some
gig.
of
All
them
right.
try to add to the Bible, but that's fine.
They
That's
might.
a
I don't
topic for a
know.
different day.
That's, I am distancing from that comment. Heyo, I'm on a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair.
Nice.
As we start episode number 113 of the Promo Upfront podcast, I'm one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, the lieutenant of lemonade himself, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the Coshocton are you today?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. We're officially into September, which is weird to say. Yeah, I'm sure you're excited based on the weather stuff.
Yeah.
I'm all about the summer, so this is September's sort of an extension of that. Things are going well, a little bit more hectic than normal, but I generally enjoy that. So it's fun stuff, man. I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great, feeling better. Still have a lingering cough from COVID last week, but on the mend. And I'm excited it's September because, hey, it's pumpkin spice latte season. So,
Whoop, whoop.
I'm pretty geeked up about that. But you know what else I'm geeked up about, Kirby?
What's that, Bill?
That'd be our awesome sponsor today in PXP Solutions. There's a lot of options when it comes to apparel decoration in the promotional products industry. Everyone seems to be searching for a partner they can trust and that'll go the extra mile. And this is exactly where PXP Solutions comes in. Here's a recent quote from a client. And I always love when we get client testimonials.
Yep.
The PXP Solutions team is excellent in every sense of the word. You help us outthink complicated projects and are always there to help, even when tasked with an extremely short deadline and high expectations. I know when we give PXP Solutions a project, you will let us know what you can do without overpromising, and you deliver on your word every single time. Kirby, now that's high praise for a decorator.
Oh, it's incredible. And the fact of the matter is when you talk about trust and consistency, that's what you want in any sort of decorator. I think we've got some
100%.
amazing blank goods suppliers in our industry, but if the logo doesn't look right, then the order's not right. And so,
No,
yeah,
100%.
that's high praise indeed.
Yeah, and the team at PXP is really, really different. They truly care about the distributor's relationship with their client. And here's another thing. Rather than an endless string of emails that can always lead to confusion, when so many emails are bouncing back and forth, you know what they do, Kirby? They do something wild. They actually pick up the phone and call you so they can quickly and efficiently communicate. How
Crazy.
Refreshing is that?
Yeah,
I know.
Crazy town.
So they actually invite you to do the same. Pick up the phone and call the owner, Bruce Jolish, at 214-380-1883. Of course, if you prefer to email, you can do so at bruce@pxpsolutions.com. Either way, you can count on a clear communication and that every single promise is going to be kept. Great group of people down there at PXP Solutions in the Dallas area. All right, Kirby, we are episode number 113 of the Promo Upfront podcast. You have the Upfront section today. I have no idea what you're going to talk about. I'm pretty excited about it. So please share your topic with us.
So I've literally audibled during the open because
all right.
I almost never know what my nickname is about, but this week I think I do. And so I'm not going to bring that up because it sounds like you're going to bring it up. So so more to come. We did like an end of the podcast tease last time. So there's a little tease to keep you with us.
This is a during podcast tease. We're teasing the tease for the tease that's going to come later to tease you about a topic.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So this will be branding as well. So I thought this was interesting. Snapchat has been in the news because they are, there's been a report that they are going to lay off approximately 20% of their staff. That would impact about 1,000 of their workers. I think that the digital space has been a little bit volatile, right? And so,
absolutely.
And Snap obviously is still trying to compete against TikTok and Instagram and all those sort of things. And yet Snapchat's one of the ones that I find fun, personally, and my family uses it a lot and that sort of thing. But the thing that I find interesting is that there has been such a rush to hire that, and especially with people of the skills like that. And then all of a sudden, in the midst of really what I feel like is, it's an economic downturn to a degree for sure,
Mhm.
but man, as fast as those folks are hired, it feels like they are laid off just as fast. And sometimes this is where I see the difference between sort of the digital marketing space and the branded merchandise space. While I'm sure
Mhm.
that there have been some cutbacks and layoffs and sort of things like that in the branded merch space,
Yeah.
I certainly haven't heard of headlines like this.
Yeah.
So I guess my two-part question to you is, number one, are you surprised when you see these like pretty big sweeping changes at some of these bigger, companies? And
Mhm.
number two, does that speak well of our industry, or am I just kind of reaching?
I'll answer the second question first. I think you're reaching a little bit,
Okay.
but that's okay. To answer your first question, no, it doesn't surprise me because, attention spans have gotten shorter. Technology is new, but that shelf life is shrinking and
Yeah.
shrinking faster than attention spans. So what is new today in that social media, that communication, let's call it communication, okay? Because
Mhm.
it is communication. So
Sure.
Snapchat is a communication channel,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's easily replicatable, it's easily improved upon,
Mm.
at least in the eyes of the user,
Right.
right? And so they come on strong. These new platforms come on very strong, and most of them don't have lasting staying power. Now some do, right? But for
Mm.
every Twitter, there's a Vine, right?
Mhm.
I mean, you
Right.
have these things that either they evolve the way their audience wants them to evolve, but if they don't, there's going to be something to take the place of that. Now, TikTok seems to have staying power, in
Yeah.
my opinion. But it also wouldn't shock me here in 2 years to see there's a new platform that is TikTok plus one. So it's a
Right. Right.
similar vehicle, but it's maybe improved. The user interface is better. You can do more with it, whatever it is. And then TikTok is laying off people. So to me, that's just an entire segment of the economy that is inherently volatile
Mm. Okay.
because you're dealing with the fickle attention span of a viewer. And again, people aren't paying generally for the product. We are the product.
Right.
And so we don't have this sense of loyalty because there is an exchange of currency. It's
Mhm.
I don't like that anymore. I'm going to go to this one. I
Yeah.
mean, if all of us sat and thought for just 1 second how many different places our data is stored, it would probably scare the hell out of all of us. But we don't think of it in the moment that way.
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting because I think where you see it, I think that I I forget, I think it was Marshall Atkinson who said this to me one time. He
Hmm.
said he gave me 99 and 1. So it was
Hmm.
the like
Yep.
90% of people on social media are just viewers. They're just
Hmm.
voyeurs, whatever. There's
Yep.
9% who engage and curate,
Mhm.
and then there's 1% that actually create. And
Yep.
I'm reminded of that because I think to your point, the 90% don't give a shit. It's
Mm-mm.
wherever I'm being entertained, get me some popcorn, and that's where I'll go.
Right.
Um, the 9% maybe are a little bit more invested. But the 1% of the ones that invest, are like YouTube. When YouTube changes algorithm, you know,
Mhm.
Peter McKinnon really cares, or Casey Neistat really cares because they are a
Right.
huge YouTube creator.
Mhm.
But if you're just somebody who goes there and watches, cat videos, then you don't really care if you can get your cat
Yeah.
videos at TikTok, and you know what I mean? Like, so I think it's the creators, it's the people who have a little bit more skin in the game who do care what comes up next. But I do
Agreed.
agree with you, by the way, that it is interesting and volatile, but you're seeing it not just across Facebook, Snapchat, whatever.
Right.
I was so fascinated by the idea that like this many people were hired. And I mean, that's always
Mhm.
viewed as a success story, and that's great. But man, these organizations that
Well,
hire fast and fire fast
it
they're tough.
yeah, it's very much it reminds me a lot of the whole land rush for people, in the dot com
Mhm.
late '90s,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And that's what it seems like. There's this land rush for talent. Well, we're going to build a platform. I mean, it seems like the model in that area is if we build it, people will come. And so they're always working from a deficit,
Yeah.
from a balance sheet perspective.
Well, and they're doing it with
So I
venture
think that's
capital money.
challenging. Absolutely.
So they're doing it. They're trying to
Absolutely.
build the platform and get the users and start to create revenue before they run out of cash.
Exactly. And so there's this land rush for talent.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's hard to sustain that, I think. Again,
Yeah.
when your audience is not paying for your service. You want them
Right.
to use it organically.
Yeah.
And because I don't have, traditionally the way most of our brains work, I don't have a financial relationship with you. So if I stop using you, it doesn't cost me anything. I don't need to go get a refund. I
Yeah.
don't need to cancel my subscription service. I'm just going to go where my next piece of candy is.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. All right, Kirby. I don't know if you saw this. Before we do this, I almost forgot.
You got to.
I got to amp up the podcast, Kirby. Hey, distributors, is your marketing working? If you can't answer that question with an immediate hell yeah, you got yourself a problem. And you need to reach out to our good pals over at Promo Pulse. That's right. They can help you consistently amplify your sales through stunningly beautiful outbound marketing that's so easy. You can customize it, you can set it, and you can forget it in 5 minutes. I don't know why I got some weird Carnival Barker voice there. But that's okay. But that's right. You can customize it, set it, and forget it in only 5 minutes. So learn more at promopulse.io/amp. All right, Kirby, I don't know if you saw this. The ASI State and Regional Sales Report from our good friends at ASI is why it's called the ASI State and Regional Sales Report.
It's a good name.
I found this interesting. I'm not sure there's a big conversation here, but I did want to share some numbers in case people didn't see it. They broke it down by regions and the growth of promotional products over the last year as part of the State of the Industry Report, which they always do such a great job with. So the East is about $4.6 billion in sales and had 7% growth over the past year, and they attribute that to the rebounding after so many COVID restrictions in the Northeast. Right, it was a very
ironic.
Yeah, there you go. That's right, exactly. So Midwest, that's where you're located. The smallest region financially, which surprised me, 4.3 billion and 9% growth. In Ohio, since you are in Ohio, $690 million in promotional product sales and 6% growth is where you're at. Okay. In the South, that's the largest region, which surprised me a little bit. 9 billion and 16% growth. It's the fastest growing region in the nation for promotional products. And Tennessee, where I'm at, 485 million and 22% growth. So pretty good growth there. It's the top 3 growth. The other top 2 are Montana and Idaho. And then you have the West at 5.3 billion and 13% growth. And there's just more pockets of growth there. So always interesting stuff from ASI. And I didn't know, when I looked at this, I'm like, okay, what's my point? So this certainly, I just killed some time on the podcast, which is always the objective. But what's my point here? And I guess what I thought was interesting, Ohio's technically in the Midwest by the way the lines are drawn. That includes Illinois, that includes Indiana, includes Michigan. It surprised me that was the smallest region for promotional product sales. Does that surprise you like it does me?
No. Because whenever I think of the big areas, I would think of East Coast, West Coast, right? You got the big cities,
right?
The Midwest by its very nature, though we certainly have metropolitan areas. We're not known for that. Being the smallest, I suppose I would say it's a little bit surprising that it's the smallest, but certainly not. It doesn't surprise me that we're not the largest. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. It surprised me a little bit that the South would be the largest. But the thing that popped into my head is, and I just don't know because I didn't see the study, is how many states does that entail? Is there more states in the South? I just don't know. And so, but what doesn't surprise me is the growth, consistent growth across the platform.
Yeah, the South doesn't surprise me leading in growth. Everybody's moving down to the South and all
Yeah.
that. It's generally a little more friendly in the business climate
Yeah.
perspective of things. To believe the South was essentially Texas,
Okay.
all your traditional Southern states on east up to the
I was
Carolinas.
going to ask if Texas was a part of the Southern state. I mean,
Texas is definitely in the South.
when
Yeah,
you throw when you throw that across and then throw Florida and you go from there to there,
in
then yeah, that's
Georgia.
a
Yeah.
pretty big region.
It's just interesting, and I what I love about what ASI does is they really break it down. And there was a lot of very pretty words that I'm not going to read right now in the report, but it really was super interesting in the shift. I mean, I got in the promotional products industry about 22, 23 years ago.
Mhm.
And when I got in the promotional products industry back in the dark ages, the East Coast and the West Coast, like what you were saying,
Yeah,
it seemed to be everything. And I think that's really, really shifted. And I think it'll be very interesting to see how it shifts. I think what was also encouraging is the rebound that we've all had
yeah,
from the pandemic. It seems like things are still trending in the right direction. I think we're all at the point now. I mean, we talked about last week, I'm getting over COVID right now. I think we're at the point where we're looking at COVID as kind of like the flu. It's something we're going to have to deal with on an annual basis,
mm,
and probably a vaccine, like there's a flu vaccine, and you still would have a chance to get the
sure,
COVID. So I think we're all kind of just kind of okay. This is what life is now, and that's okay.
yeah,
That's just we all adapt. So
yeah.
interesting stuff. All right, Kirby, what else do you got for us?
I'm going to do this one. It might be a quick one, but it's one that
Mhm.
I kind of teased last week, and I
Yep.
really just wanted your take on it. So,
Yep.
um, pastor at church at one point
Hmm.
during a message made a comment that kind of caught me off guard, and
Okay.
I've given it some thought afterwards. But in the moment, I had that where I kind of reared back. He said that he doesn't like. He was talking about goals and life
Yep.
objectives, and he said I don't like goals that I need somebody's help with.
Okay.
And I was like, huh, that I'm like, wait a second.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so he, what got me thinking about it is, this, but my wife and I are
Hmm.
building a house right now. And
Right.
I'm so excited about the progress of the house.
Hmm.
But it's interesting because I can't really affect it. I am solely dependent
Right.
on the contractor, the builder, the
Right.
people to show up and do their job, that it wildly affects my mood. If there's
Right.
progress, I'm excited and
Oh,
it's
there's
great.
not.
And then when there's not, I'm just pissed. And it's
Yeah.
like, and so that was sort of my analogy. I'm like, oh, well,
Mhm.
that's sort of what he means. Now, I actually have um communicated it differently. I've given it a little bit more thought, but I wanted to get your take. What do you
Yeah.
think about that? Saying, look, I don't want to have goals that I need other people's help with.
So my immediate reaction is to kind of like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
step off."
Yeah,
I don't like
exactly.
it. I would word it thusly. I don't like goals that depend on the actions of others.
Depends
Okay?
solely.
That's exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I goals that require help and assistance, I have no problem with
Yeah.
because to me that forges relationships, that allows you to dream bigger,
Yep.
that allows you to accomplish more.
Yep.
So I don't like the wording and the phrasing, quite
Yeah.
frankly, at all.
Yeah.
But but I don't want my goals dependent solely
Right.
on the actions of others.
Yeah.
If they're partially dependent on the actions of others, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But if I'm dependent solely on someone else, it's really not my goal then, is it?
Yeah.
It's my wish, it's my dream, it's my hope, it's whatever,
100%.
but it's not a goal. So I'm 100% with you on this. I really, I don't mind getting help with my goals. I want that. In fact, I think that's strong and healthy, but I don't want to depend on others
Yeah. Well,
to
the
do
way I
that.
kind of
And some
landed
goals
on,
do require outside help, like your goal of moving into a house.
yeah,
You're not going to go lay the, run the plumbing or
no,
run
I'm
the
not.
electric.
No, and I should not. I think where I kind of landed on is I don't like goals that I can't positively affect. And I think
Exactly.
that's sort of we're landing on the same spot.
Hmm.
But and I sort of think that's what he meant too,
Yeah.
right? And when God love pastors, they're given a message 50 weeks a year. Like
Yeah.
it's really hard to talk for that long and not say something
Yeah.
that doesn't come off exactly the way you mean it. But I love it in the sense that it made me think. And I was like, okay, the goals that I have, maybe I do need other people to help me, but I want to be able to have ownership over those goals and be able to say, no
Correct.
matter what, I am able
It's
to
on me.
affect them. And so that's it. That's the entire topic.
No, I think that's a good one. And, pastors have a tough job. They don't generally add to the Bible. And so there's only so many lessons you can teach out of there. And you got to switch up the words and the analogies. It's not
I
an
think
easy
some
gig.
of
All
them
right.
try to add to the Bible, but that's fine.
They
That's
might.
a
I don't
topic for a
know.
different day.
That's I am distancing from that comment. All right. So this came to us, and I believe you know what I'm about to talk about, from our friend Daniel Rosen from
Yep.
the Branding Fuel over there in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yep.
So Chipotle, if you have a Chipotle, you can go there, you order your burrito, and a lot of people will get a cup of water because it's free.
Yep.
But then they walk over to the self-serve machine and tend to get lemonade. So they released a lemonade scented water cup candle. So it looks exactly like the Chipotle water cup, but it's a lemonade scented candle. It pokes fun at the customers who do sneak the free drinks. It retailed for $28 on the Chipotle website, sold out again, just like these things always do, almost instantly. And now it's on eBay for up to $90. And as Danny said to an email, in an email to both of us, that this is not only promo done right, it actually shows ROI. And
Right.
so it got me to thinking, and just 3 quick lessons we as an industry can learn from this. And I'd love you to add if you think I'm missing something. I don't want to put you too much on the spot. One is move fast. If you see an opportunity as a marketer, today you have to move at lightning speed.
Okay. Can I jump in
Number
there?
2,
Yeah.
please do.
Yeah. And so I would say that would be awesome for branded merchandise, but that's true for digital as well. I think that's one of the
100%.
places that digital has taught us that, man,
Yep.
you can jump in here, and then if you can do branded merchandise to go with it, you can really have gold, which is what they have.
Yep. And that's why I said marketing, right?
Yeah.
It's marketing. If there's an opportunity, whether it's digital, phygital, the physical and digital combined, or simple physical, you've got to jump on it. Number 2, you have to create desire via scarcity.
Yeah, I agree.
Look, I'm sure it wouldn't have cost Chipotle to print, to order 100,000 candles, but it's better that they probably ordered only 500 or 1,000.
Yeah,
because they immediately created supply and demand issues.
Yep, scarcity creates value.
It does. And then number 3, don't be afraid to poke fun at yourself.
Yeah, I love that.
Don't be afraid to it's at the end of the day, this is an accounting problem at Chipotle. How do we keep our guests happy but charge them appropriately when they're sneaking the water? Well, while they figure that out, let's have a fun time shaming the people who do that intentionally.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I think, again, there's other lessons too, but I thought those are the 3 that immediately jumped to my mind.
Well, and so what I would say too is it's interesting. It depends on the tribe, because you can't do this with everybody. But you said poke fun at yourself. They poked fun at their customers. And so that would not work in certain places with certain brands. But I think because of Chipotle's brand, and they're a bit irreverent, just based on their whole business model, I think it does work. And like, they did it in a way that, it was a nod, kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge way. I thought this was genius. And as a side note, I love it when people bring us topics like this. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So generally we wrap up the podcast now, but we did tease something last week. And so Kirby and I are doing something fun this fall. So what we're going to call this is we have one of 2 names we can call this. We can call it Kirby and Bill's Funtacular Football Pick'em Series all fall for 2022 into 2023. Seems a little long. So I think we'll just call it Gambling for Good. Okay. So,
and we definitely need like a logo and like some music.
I'll get right on the logo. So we're going to call it Gambling for Good. So Kirby and I are going to pick 6 football games every single week throughout the season. Now, generally what we're going to do is we're going to pick 3 college and 3 pro games, the games we feel are the best of that weekend. And we're going to do this through the last week of the regular season of the NFL season. We're not going to pick against the spread. It's simple win, loss. Sometimes it's going to involve the colleges that and pro sports teams that we are aligned with, and sometimes it's not.
Right.
And we'll get to that in just a minute. So the loser, and we're going to keep track of this every week, the loser is going to donate $100 to PPEF, so the Promotional Products Education Foundation. So we're excited about that. All right. So Kirby, I've got my little sheet here.
Okay.
Well, again, no spread here. We don't care about the spread. This week, there are no pro games. So we're going 100% college. The 6 games that popped into our heads. So are you ready, Kirby?
And Bill's head. So thanks for picking the
And
Bills.
my head, yes.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Rutgers at Boston College.
Rutgers at Boston College.
Yep.
Was this on our list?
Yeah, first
Okay.
one.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna go Rutgers. I'll be a little faithful to the Big Ten on this one.
Okay, I went with the Eagles from Boston College.
Yeah.
They're the home team. I don't know anything about either one of those teams. I honestly don't care about the game. So go Eagles.
Okay.
Number 11 Georgia at number 11 Oregon at number 3 Georgia.
You guys can see why I missed Rutgers at Boston College when that was the next game, right? I'm going Georgia on that one.
Yeah, I'm also going with the Bulldogs at home. All right, number 23, Cincinnati at number 19, Arkansas. Some people pronounce it Arkansas. I pronounce it Arkansas.
And so it's at Arkansas, right?
It's at Arkansas, correct.
You know what? I'm going to go against probably my better judgment, but I'm going to say Cincinnati with the hometown.
Wow. You're going with the Natty. Okay. I am going with the Pigs down in Fayetteville. The game of the week, number 5, Notre Dame travels into the Ohio State University. Number 2 ranked Buckeyes. Who do you got?
I think it's funny, the spread, and I know we're not going against the spread, but the spread is like 17 on this, and I think that's way too much. With the new coach who used to play at Ohio State, was a linebacker for Ohio State. I think there's going to be a lot of emotion tied to this game. I think Ohio State has the better roster, and so I'm going with Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm reluctantly going with the Buckeyes. Of the teams I have hatred for in college football, it is the University of Texas, it is Ohio State, it is Notre Dame in exactly that order. So, but I am still going to go with the Buckeyes here. Okay. So you're going with the Ohio State. All right, number 7, Utah. Our friend Bori Lee loves the Utah Utes at Florida and the Gators.
Yeah,
unranked, by the way. Florida is unranked.
Going with Utah. I think Utah is one of those teams it's been consistently pretty good for the last several years, and I think they finished the year strong. I think they'll roll Florida.
I am going with the Gator at home. I think they're going to shock everybody and upset them in the swamp.
That would be a big
win.
All
right. Yeah. All right. Last game of the week, Florida State versus LSU, two once very proud college organizations that have fallen on some tough times. Who do you got?
Yeah, this was a tough one for me. And then I finally landed on, whether you like him or not, I'm going with the coach that I'm most familiar with, who I think is underrated, as a college football coach. I think Brian Kelly's a hell of a football coach. He turned around. I mean, people don't remember how bad Notre Dame was before Brian Kelly took over.
I do.
And so I think if he can do that at Notre Dame, I think he will do really well with LSU. So he's a little bit of a cartoon character, but I'm going LSU.
Yeah, I'm also going with the Tigers down in Baton Rouge. I do pick Brian Kelly in his fake Cajun accent.
That part was weird. I really wish he hadn't done that.
To beat the Florida State Seminoles. All right, so we got 6 games. We'll recap it. It'll be like a 3-minute segment every week, but hopefully you'll have fun with it. If you want to throw in your picks too with us, go ahead. That'd be fun. Please. That'd be fun. But you know what else is fun, Kirby?
What's up?
That is working with a screen printer and a decorator you can trust, and that's going to go the extra mile on every project. We read at the top of the show that great quote from a customer about PXP Solutions. They're really a different group down there. And rather than just bounce back emails, which tend to get very confusing, and did I copy this person, and does that information still move on to this? They will pick up the phone and call you, and they invite you to do the same. Go ahead and call Bruce Jolish, the owner, at 214-380-1883. Of course, he'll take your emails too, bruce@pxpsolutions.com. And of course, if you want to visit their website, it's pxpsolutions.com. They've got some great decorating methods, and they are going to go the extra mile to make you look great for your customer. I don't know if anybody can look as great as Kirby does today, but PXP is going to try to help you out on that one. So with that, hope everybody has a great Labor Day weekend. Kirby, good luck with football. Pick 'em.
Yeah, you too, bud.